More than 1.2 million people moved to the UK last year alone. That's the highest number ever recorded. But where are they all going? It's not just London anymore. Some cities are growing faster than anyone predicted, and they're starting to buckle under the pressure. Housing waiting lists are exploding. Rents are shooting up. Schools are overcrowded. Hospitals are stretched. And local communities are asking, can we cope? But here's the thing. Most people don't realize. The real immigration hotspots aren't always the obvious big cities. There are places on this list that will surprise you. Some are small towns suddenly transformed into sprawling urban centers. So why is this happening? Is it all about jobs, cheaper housing, refugee policies, universities? Or is it something deeper, changing the entire face of the UK? Today, we're revealing the 10 UK cities most overcrowded by immigration in 2025. But it's not just a list. We'll dig into the real reasons why they're growing so fast. We'll see how local services are straining. We'll talk about the human stories behind the numbers. So stay to the end. Because understanding these changes isn't just about headlines. It's about the future of the country. Which city will top the list? And what does that mean for all of us? Let's find out. Number 10. Cardiff. Cardiff isn't the first city most people think of when they hear overcrowded by immigration. But that's precisely why it lands at number 10. It's an unexpected hotspot whose growth has blindsided local planners. In just 5 years, the foreign-born population in the Welsh capital has surged by over 20%. Driven by a mix of government asylum dispersal policies, refugee resettlement, and booming international student numbers. Cardiff University and other colleges attract thousands of overseas students each year, putting big pressure on rental markets already stretched thin. It's not just students filling up shared houses and city center flats. Families arriving through resettlement programs are competing for social housing. Average rents in Cardiff have reportedly jumped over 15% in just 2 years. Waiting lists for council homes are growing longer, forcing some families into temporary B&Bs or cramped hostels for months. The city's NHS services are also feeling the heat. Some GP surgeries have closed to new patients entirely. Local schools are racing to expand capacity, hire specialist teachers, and set up language support programs. Counselors admit they're struggling to keep pace with demand, despite extra funding promises. But there's another side to this story. New arrivals are opening restaurants, shops, and cultural centers that are transforming Cardiff's high streets. The city's music scene is becoming more diverse, its food offering more global, its communities more connected in some ways than ever before. Still, big questions loom. How does Cardiff balance growth without pushing locals out? Can it build enough homes fast enough? Will services cope? If Cardiff is number 10, wait until you see the pressures in the next city on our list. Number 9 is even more dramatic. Number 9. Coventry. Coventry has long been known as an industrial hub, but in 2025 it's facing a new kind of pressure. An immigration surge that's transforming the city faster than many expected. It's earned its spot at number 9 on this list for good reason. Over the last few years, Coventry's population has grown rapidly, with much of that growth driven by overseas arrivals. One of the biggest factors? Its universities. Coventry University and the University of Warwick bring in thousands of international students every year. While that's good for the economy, it's also pushing local rental prices higher, squeezing long-term residents. But students aren't the only new arrivals. Coventry has also become a designated dispersal area for asylum seekers. Hundreds of families are placed here each year, often with little preparation time for local services to respond. That's led to overcrowded housing, emergency accommodation shortages, and tensions over who gets priority for social housing. Local GPs and NHS services are struggling to keep up. Some clinics report wait times of several weeks just for basic appointments. Schools are under pressure to add places and provide English language support for newly arrived children. Even food banks have seen increased demand, prompting calls for more funding and volunteer help. Yet despite these challenges, Coventry is also seeing a cultural renaissance. Immigrant communities are opening restaurants, shops, and cultural centers that bring new life to the high street. Festivals and events celebrate diverse traditions, making Coventry one of the UK's most multicultural cities. But can the city keep up? Will it find a way to house everyone, keep services running, and maintain community spirit? What do you think? Drop a comment below with your thoughts on Coventry's challenges. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more deep dives into the UK's most pressing urban issues. Number 8. Slough. Slough isn't the sort of place that usually makes headlines for its charm. It's often seen as a commuter town, practical, unglamorous, overshadowed by London. But in 2025, it's grappling with a transformation that feels impossible to ignore. The town's population boom has been astonishing. Driven largely by immigration, Slough's growth is outpacing the ability to build new homes or expand services. Families from Eastern Europe, South Asia, and Africa have all settled here, drawn by proximity to London's jobs, but, historically, cheaper rents. But those cheaper rents are vanishing fast. Entire streets are now carved into bedsits. Landlords split houses into multiple units to meet demand. Council planners admit they're playing catch-up, with new housing projects years behind schedule. Locals talk about streets so packed with cars there's no room to park. Bins overflow on collection days. Noise complaints have risen. It's a sense of a town bursting at the seams. Schools face unpredictable enrollment spikes, some adding temporary classrooms to cope. Healthcare access is tight, with new residents struggling to register with oversubscribed GPs. Even local businesses feel the strain. Supermarkets are hiring more staff just to deal with the footfall, while small shops thrive but also face fierce competition. Yet, there's an undeniable vibrancy here. Walking through the town center, you'll hear dozens of languages, see food shops catering to every taste. Community groups try to bridge divides, hosting cultural events, language classes, and welcome sessions for new arrivals. For Slough, the question isn't whether it's overcrowded, it's how to channel all this energy without letting the infrastructure collapse. It's a town in flux, and no one can say for sure what it will look like in another 5 years. Number 7. Luton. Luton has always been a town defined by movement. Once famous for its hat factories, then its car plants, now it's known for its airport, a gateway in and out of the UK. But today, Luton is facing the weight of being one of the country's most overcrowded and diverse towns. Its growth fueled by steady waves of immigration that show no sign of slowing. Official figures reveal that nearly half of Luton's residents were born outside the UK. That's not just a statistic. It's something you feel immediately. Walk through the town center and you'll find markets with South Asian spices, Eastern European bakeries, African hair salons. It's vibrant, colorful, and deeply multicultural. But it also comes with real challenges. Housing is a major flashpoint. Terraced houses meant for single families now hold 3 or 4. The local council has faced criticism for not building enough affordable homes, leaving thousands on waiting lists. Private rents have soared, pricing out young locals who grew up here. Schools are at capacity, scrambling for funding to add classrooms and hire staff with experience in teaching English as an additional language. Healthcare services are stretched, with long waiting times for GPs and urgent care. Even the roads feel overloaded. Traffic jams are a daily frustration, made worse by the sheer density of people living in such a small area. But Luton is more than its problems. It's a town where people have always adapted. Community groups offer language support, job training, cultural celebrations that bring neighbors together. There's a gritty pride here, a sense that despite the pressures, people will find ways to make it work. Yet with growth projected to continue, there's an urgent question. Can Luton's infrastructure keep pace with its people's ambition? Number 6. Bradford. Bradford is a city of contrasts. On one hand, it's famous for its stunning Victorian architecture and industrial heritage. On the other, it's now one of the youngest, most diverse, and fastest-growing cities in the UK. Earning it the number 6 spot on this list of immigration-driven overcrowding hotspots in 2025. A striking statistic, nearly a third of Bradford's population is under 20. Much of this youth boom comes from immigrant families who have settled here over generations. Recent arrivals from Syria, Afghanistan, Eastern Europe, and beyond are adding to that growth, pushing the city's population past 500,000. This demographic shift brings life and energy, but also undeniable strain. Housing is a serious problem. Old terraced homes are often overcrowded with multiple generations under one roof. The council struggles to keep up with demand for social housing, while private rents creep higher. Some neighborhoods are marked by visible poverty and disrepair, even as others see flashy new builds and regeneration projects. Schools here have some of the highest numbers of pupils for whom English is not the first language. Teachers work hard to provide support, but resources are stretched. Waiting lists for places have become a flashpoint for local frustration. Health services report similar challenges, with GPs managing far more patients than recommended. Yet Bradford's story isn't only about strain. Immigrant communities have left an indelible cultural mark, from the city's world-famous curry houses to vibrant festivals celebrating heritage and faith. The entrepreneurial spirit is strong here too. Family-run shops, restaurants, and service businesses create jobs and keep local economies humming. As Bradford grows, it faces a fundamental question. How does it offer opportunity without deepening inequality? Can it keep its unique character while making space for everyone who wants to call it home? Number 5. Leicester. Leicester has been called the UK's first plural city, where no single ethnic group holds a majority. It's a city that wears its diversity proudly, but in 2025, it's also under huge pressure from immigration-driven growth, landing it firmly at number 5 on this list. Over decades, Leicester built a reputation as a welcoming place for new arrivals. South Asian communities flourished here after Ugandan Asians were expelled in the 1970s. More recently, Eastern Europeans arrived in large numbers after EU expansion, while refugees from conflict zones like Syria and Afghanistan continue to resettle here under government programs. The result? A population boom that's outpaced the city's infrastructure planning. Housing is one of the most urgent issues. Terraced streets once affordable to working families are now crammed with subdivided rentals. Overcrowding has become a quiet crisis. Demand for social housing vastly exceeds supply, and homelessness has been rising. Schools in Leicester have adapted to welcome children speaking dozens of different languages. While this diversity enriches the classroom, it also means hiring more specialist staff and expanding facilities. NHS services are under strain too, with GPs struggling to register new patients and hospital departments seeing heavier use. Yet Leicester is a city that knows how to change. Its high streets pulse with life. Sari shops, halal butchers, Polish delis, Caribbean takeaways. Cultural festivals draw crowds from every background. There's a sense of local pride in being able to say, "We all belong here." But there's no denying the challenges ahead. Can Leicester build enough homes? Can it keep services funded and accessible? Can it avoid resentment and division as its population grows even more diverse? For Leicester, the question isn't whether it will keep changing. It's how it will manage that change without leaving anyone behind. Number 4. Glasgow. Glasgow has always been a city of arrivals. Shipbuilders, Irish migrants, workers from across Scotland itself. It was built on movement. But in 2025, the story has taken on new urgency, placing it at number 4 on this list of overcrowded UK cities shaped by immigration. In the last decade, Glasgow has become one of the UK's main hubs for refugee resettlement and asylum dispersal. Home Office policies send many newly arrived asylum seekers here, attracted by relatively cheaper housing and the city's existing support networks. Official figures show thousands arriving every year, putting significant strain on local services that were already underfunded. Housing is a flashpoint. The City Council has had to scramble to secure emergency accommodation, even repurposing hotels at times. Long-term residents complain of soaring rents and social housing shortages, while new arrivals often live in cramped, substandard flats. The city's homelessness services are stretched to breaking point. Healthcare is another stress area. GP surgeries in some parts of Glasgow report unmanageable caseloads. Mental health services, vital for refugees who've fled traumatic circumstances, are underfunded and oversubscribed. Meanwhile, schools face the dual challenge of growing class sizes and providing support for children still learning English. But it would be wrong to paint only a bleak picture. Glasgow is famous for its warmth, humor, and stubborn civic pride. Communities have organized welcome groups, language classes, and cultural events to help newcomers settle in. The food scene is transforming, with Middle Eastern, African, and Eastern European restaurants adding new flavors to the city's culinary map. Glasgow's question for the future is stark. How does it honor its tradition of hospitality without overwhelming its fragile infrastructure? Can it remain the friendly city it claims to be, while meeting the needs of everyone who now calls it home? Number 3. Manchester. Manchester is the poster child for Britain's so-called northern powerhouse, a city that reinvented itself from a fading industrial hub into a modern, cosmopolitan powerhouse. But with that success has come a new challenge: immigration-driven overcrowding that places Manchester at number 3 on our list. The city's booming economy has been a magnet for skilled workers from abroad. Tech startups, finance firms, healthcare, and universities all actively recruit talent globally. Manchester's 2 major universities alone draw tens of thousands of international students, many of whom stay after graduating. This steady influx has created surging demand for housing, pushing rents higher even in once affordable neighborhoods. The city has also seen rising numbers of asylum seekers and refugees, thanks in part to national dispersal schemes. Local charities report record numbers seeking help with housing and legal advice. The city council has warned it simply doesn't have enough suitable accommodation for everyone, resulting in families squeezed into overcrowded flats or temporary hostels. Public services feel the weight. GP surgeries are so full that new arrivals often can't register without weeks of waiting. Schools face expanding class sizes and a need for specialist teachers to support children learning English. Even transport is groaning under the pressure. Buses packed, roads gridlocked. Yet Manchester remains fiercely proud of its diversity. The city's neighborhoods are alive with culture, from West Indian carnivals to Pakistani weddings, Polish shops to Chinese supermarkets. It's a place where difference is normal, even celebrated. The real question for Manchester isn't whether it wants to welcome new people. It clearly does. It's whether it can invest fast enough in homes, services, and infrastructure to make that welcome sustainable. Because without that investment, the city's success story risks leaving too many behind. Number 2. Birmingham. Birmingham has long been one of the UK's most diverse cities, a place where communities from all over the world have settled, worked, and built lives over generations. But in 2025, it's also feeling the squeeze of rapid immigration-driven growth, making it number 2 on our list. The city's population has been climbing steadily, with foreign-born residents now accounting for around 30% of the total. It's not just one group either. Birmingham is home to South Asian communities established for decades, newly arrived refugees from conflicts in the Middle East and Africa, and economic migrants from Eastern Europe. This layered diversity is part of its character, but also the source of complex challenges. Housing is at crisis levels. Entire neighborhoods are subdivided into cramped HMOs, houses in multiple occupation. Demand for social housing is so high that waiting lists stretch for years. Private landlords are cashing in, pushing up rents far beyond what many local families can afford. Homelessness services are under immense pressure, with shelters frequently full. Schools in Birmingham are working at or beyond capacity. Many classrooms have students speaking over a dozen different first languages, making teaching both rewarding and demanding. Teachers report needing more resources, more space, and more specialist staff to ensure every child gets the education they deserve. Healthcare is another point of tension. GP practices in densely populated wards struggle to see everyone promptly. A&E departments see higher demand, while mental health services, essential for many who've experienced trauma before arriving, are underfunded and overburdened. Yet Birmingham is also a city of astonishing resilience. Its food scene is a microcosm of the world. Festivals celebrate traditions from every continent. Family-run shops and restaurants help keep local economies vibrant. The question for Birmingham isn't whether it will remain diverse. It's whether it can ensure that diversity thrives without overwhelming the systems meant to support it. Number 1. London. London. No surprises that the UK's capital tops this list. It's the beating heart of Britain's economy, culture, and politics. But in 2025, it's also the ultimate case study in immigration-driven overcrowding. The city's foreign-born population is now estimated at over 3 million people, more than a third of all residents. And it's not just a single wave of newcomers. London is the world in miniature. Nigerian markets in Peckham, Polish shops in Ealing, Bangladeshi restaurants in Whitechapel, Romanian cafes in Burnt Oak. This astonishing diversity is its greatest strength and one of its biggest logistical challenges. Housing is the most obvious pressure point. The cost of renting or buying in London has become eye-watering even for well-paid professionals. For lower-income families, the crisis is even starker. Overcrowding is widespread, with entire families renting single rooms. Homelessness figures are at record levels, with thousands in temporary accommodation. Councils are spending huge sums to house people outside the city altogether. Public services buckle under the weight. Schools in many boroughs operate at or beyond capacity, juggling the needs of children speaking dozens of different first languages. Hospitals and GP practices face queues that test anyone's patience, while social care systems struggle to keep up with a growing, aging, and diversifying population. Transport, too, is a daily test of endurance. Trains and buses are crammed. Tube stations overflow during rush hour. Even the roads grind to a halt as the sheer number of residents and workers overwhelms any upgrade. Yet for all its strain, London remains magnetic. It offers opportunity, culture, and a sense of possibility unmatched anywhere else in the UK. The question now is existential. Can the capital adapt fast enough to remain livable for everyone who calls it home? Or will it become a city of opportunity only for those who can afford its crushing costs? These stories aren't just numbers. They're real lives, real challenges, and the future of our cities. Tell us in the comments, which city surprised you most, or what's happening in your own town? Don't miss our last video for even deeper insights. And if you appreciate the effort we put into these videos, please support us. Just one click to subscribe means the world to us.